This is KCTV English News. I'm Nick Brontes. Jeju land is still getting more expensive every year, but the rate at which the price is growing is slowing. Land Ministry representatives say Jeju land prices were up an average of 4.99% last year. That's higher than the national average of 4.58%. Growth peaked at 8.33% in 2016, but it has fallen since then. In 2017, the figure was 5.46%. 57,900 plots of land changed hands last year. That's 13.7% fewer than the year before. Beginning with national union elections this March, authorities are increasing the rewards substantially for people who report election violations. The Jeju Election Commission says it is working harder to stamp out illegal activities around the upcoming holidays. The violations it is targeting include handing out presents or valuables, as well as pre-electioneering for the votes in March. The Commission hopes to encourage more people to report violations regarding the national union elections by boosting the maximum reward for doing so from 100 million won to 300 million won. Anyone who is caught accepting valuables will be fined up to 50 times the value of the items. That fine will be waived, however, if the person turns him or herself in. Jeju City is increasing trash pickups for the traditional Shingugan moving season and the Lunar New Year holidays. The goal during Shingugan is to pick up all waste the day that it is thrown out. To reach that goal, it will add 2 additional vehicles to the existing fleet tasked with picking up large items. The city will collect garbage earlier than usual on Lunar New Year's Day, but will stick to its regular schedule on the other holidays. The Jeju City Administration also plans to operate a mobile team and a specialized response office to handle garbage collection over the period. It will cost about 235,000 won to buy all of the items needed to hold ancestral rites for the Lunar New Year. The Jeju Chamber of Commerce and Industry surveyed prices at traditional markets in Jeju City on January 22nd and 23rd. Its estimate for a 4-person family this year is 1,330 won higher than last year. The heat wave and drought last year pushed fruit prices up about 9.3%. On the whole, costs were down for the other items, like vegetables and meat. KCTV-produced Haifong Families is getting attention from the media, including one of the nation's leading English-language newspapers. The Korea Herald recently covered the sitcom, saying that it portrayed Korea as a more multicultural society. It also reported that talks are underway to export the show to Vietnam, and in that way, it is gaining attention for its cultural content. Haifong Families follows the stories of locals who married foreign nationals, including some from Vietnam. The Korea Cable TV Association and the Ministry of Science and ICT have both awarded the program. It's time again for Film Focus. Here's Mike Laidman with what's new in local theaters.
After the 2 entries, both of which were pretty dramatic and only one of which was really any good, we return with what is in fact a sci-fi movie, which doesn't really feel like it's a sci-fi movie, and also historical drama. First, it's Glass, which is actually the culmination in a series that began in 2000 with Unbreakable, and which nobody realized was actually supposed to be a trilogy until 2016's Split came out. Well, now we get to see how it all pans out. Then it's on to Curse, the story of the sinking of the Russian submarine of the same name. Welcome to another edition of Film Focus. I'm Mike Laidman.
It's amazing to meet you.
It wasn't until the final moments of the wonderful Split from a couple years ago that people realized that both it and Unbreakable were a part of the same universe and that it was meant to be a trilogy. It was only a matter of time before we got the final entry. Bruce Willis returns as David Dunn, as does Samuel L. Jackson as Elijah Price, also known by his pseudonym Mr. Glass. James McAvoy reprises his role as Kevin Wendell Crumb and the multiple identities who reside within. Following the conclusion of Split, Glass finds Dunn pursuing Crumb's superhuman figure of the Beast in a series of escalating encounters, while the shadowy presence of Price emerges as an orchestrator who holds secrets critical to both men. So, does it live up to its own hype? Short answer, no. It teeters between sticking in reality and its superhero roots, never fully embracing either to its own detriment. There are, of course, slivers scattered here and there of what could have been, but not enough to really call Glass a success.
Last name. Glass.
The story of the Kursk follows the fateful events of the submarine of the same name during the largest Russian naval exercises in 10 years, where it was lost with all hands after experiencing a series of explosions. What makes this such an interesting story is the fact that the whole situation was so botched by the Russian government and that there exists so much that is still unknown about what happened behind the scenes. Kursk is a perfectly adequate by-the-numbers action melodrama, but where it shines the most is when it's exploring the thorniest and most provocative elements of a somewhat unknown story. The film honors the victims and their families with a sincere depiction of the events that happened, but perhaps more importantly, of the people affected by this avoidable tragedy.
For both of us, you are my forever.
It will be very windy and colder than it has been on Saturday. For the details, here's your forecast. The low in Jeju City will be 2 in the afternoon, high 5 degrees. In Seogwipo, temperatures will fall between 2 and 8. In Seongsan, the low before lunch will be 1 and the high later on 4 degrees. Temperatures will range from 3 to 5 across the island in Gosan. And the morning low up on the mountain at Songpanak will be -5 and the afternoon high -3. Out on the water, winds will be out of the northwest and north at 12 to 18 meters per second, and seas will be between 2 and 4 meters in height. And here's a look ahead into next week. And that brings us to the end of today's newscast. Thank you for joining me, and I hope you'll tune in next time. Until then, don't forget to find us on YouTube by searching for KCTV E-News Jeju. 시청자 여러분, 고맙습니다.